In the heart of the Kalahari Desert, under a sky so vast it seemed to swallow the world, Sarah woke to a morning that felt wrong. The air was heavy, unnaturally still. No breeze stirred the acacia trees, no birds sang their usual dawn chorus. It was as if the desert itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to shatter the silence. Sarah, a wildlife researcher with years of experience tracking the untamed rhythms of the wild, stepped out of her tent. Her boots crunched on the dry earth, the only sound in a world that felt eerily muted. Something was off, and it chilled her to the bone. The Kalahari is a place of raw beauty, where life thrives against all odds. Mornings here are alive with the hum of insects, the chatter of meerkats, the distant roar of a lion. But this morning, nothing. Sarah scanned the horizon, her hazel eyes narrowing as she gripped her binoculars. She'd spent years studying the desert's creatures, learning their patterns, their struggles. But today, the land seemed to whisper a warning she couldn't quite hear. Her instincts screamed. Danger was near. She set out on foot, her field notebook tucked into her vest, her heart pounding with an urge she couldn't name. The desert stretched before her, its red sands dotted with gnarled shrubs and ancient tracks. She followed a faint trail, paw prints, fresh, chaotic, etched deep into the earth. They weren't the neat strides of a cheetah or the heavy plod of an elephant. These were erratic, desperate, the tracks of something fleeing for its life. Sarah crouched, her fingers brushing the sand. It was still cool, damp from the night. Whatever had passed here had done so in a hurry. And it wasn't alone. As she followed the trail, the silence grew heavier, pressing against her chest. Then, she heard it, a faint, panicked bleat, slicing through the stillness. It came from a rocky outcrop just beyond a cluster of thorn bushes. Sarah's pulse quickened. She moved faster, her boots kicking up dust, until she crested a dune and froze. There, in a shallow gully, was a young antelope, its delicate legs tangled in the coils of a massive rock python. The snake's scales glinted in the morning light, its body a living rope tightening with every twist. The antelope's eyes were wide with terror, its breaths shallow, desperate. Dust swirled around them, kicked up by its futile struggles. Sarah's heart sank. She knew the python's power. Its coils could crush bones, stop a heartbeat in minutes. But before she could act, a shadow moved at the edge of her vision. A low, guttural growl rumbled through the air, sending a shiver down her spine. From the thorn bushes emerged a lioness, lean, muscular, her amber eyes locked on the scene. This wasn't just any lioness. Sarah recognized her instantly. Nala, the matriarch of a pride she'd studied for years. Nala's scars told stories of battles won, of cubs protected, of a life spent guarding her family. But today, her gaze wasn't on the python or the antelope. It was on something else, something Sarah couldn't yet see. The python sensed the new threat. Its head reared back, tongue flickering, assessing the lioness. Nala didn't hesitate. She charged, her paws pounding the earth, a blur of power and purpose. The python struck, its jaws snapping inches from Nala's flank, but she was too fast. With a single swipe of her paw, she knocked the snake's head aside, forcing it to loosen its grip on the antelope. The young creature gasped, its legs trembling as it tried to stand. But the python wasn't done. Its coils lashed out, wrapping around Nala's hind leg, pulling her down with terrifying strength. Sarah's breath caught. She wanted to help, to do something, anything, but she knew the risks. A lioness in battle, especially one fighting for survival, was as dangerous as the python itself. She scanned her surroundings, spotting a sturdy branch nearby. It wasn't much, but it was something. She grabbed it, her hands shaking, and edged closer, keeping low to avoid Nala's attention. The lioness roared, a sound that shook the earth, a primal cry of defiance. She twisted, her claws raking the python's scales, but the snake's grip tightened, its coils now circling her torso. The antelope, freed but dazed, staggered to its feet. It stumbled toward the bushes, its survival instinct kicking in. Sarah's eyes darted between the antelope and the battle unfolding before her. Nala was fighting not just for herself, but for the balance of the desert, a balance where life and death danced in delicate harmony. Sarah inched closer, gripping the branch. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself, her voice barely audible. "Think, Sarah, think." The python's coils tightened, and Nala's roars grew weaker. Sarah's heart pounded. She couldn't just watch. She moved forward, careful not to startle the lioness, and jabbed the branch at the python's tail, hoping to distract it. The snake hissed, its head whipping toward her, but Nala seized the moment. With a surge of strength, she sank her teeth into the python's body, forcing it to release her leg. The snake thrashed, its coils unraveling as it tried to retreat. Nala staggered to her feet, blood matting her fur, but her eyes burned with resolve. Sarah stepped back, her breath ragged. The python, overwhelmed, slithered into the shadows of the gully, its retreat marked by a trail of disturbed sand. A heavy silence fell, broken only by Nala's labored breathing. The lioness stood tall, her gaze shifting to the antelope, now safe in the distance. Then her eyes met Sarah's. For a fleeting moment, time stopped. There was no fear in Nala's stare, no threat, just a quiet acknowledgement, a shared understanding of survival in a world both cruel and beautiful. But the victory was bittersweet. Nala limped, her flank bleeding from the python's strike. Sarah's instincts as a researcher gave way to something deeper, a need to help. She reached into her vest for a small first aid kit, her hands steadying as she approached the lioness. "Easy, girl," she murmured, keeping her movements slow, her eyes averted to avoid a challenge. Nala's ears twitched, but she didn't growl. Sarah knelt a safe distance away, placing a clean cloth and antiseptic near the lioness. She knew she couldn't touch her, but she could offer something, anything, to ease the pain. Nala lowered her head, sniffing the cloth. Then, in a moment that defied the laws of the wild, she lay down, her massive form settling into the sand. Sarah's breath caught. It wasn't submission, it was trust. She spoke softly, her voice a steady rhythm, recounting stories of the desert to keep Nala calm. Minutes passed, and the lioness's breathing steadied. Sarah backed away, her heart full. She'd witnessed something extraordinary, not just a battle, but a connection, a bridge between human and wild. As the sun climbed higher, the desert came alive again. The wind whispered through the acacias, birds resumed their songs, and the hum of life returned. Nala rose, her strength returning, and vanished into the thorn bushes, her silhouette fading like a ghost. Sarah stood alone, the weight of what she'd seen settling into her soul. This wasn't just a story of survival. It was a testament to courage, to the unspoken bonds that tie all living things together. Back at camp, Sarah wrote in her notebook, her pen trembling. She didn't write about data or observations. She wrote about Nala, about the antelope, about a moment when the desert held its breath and then exhaled. This story isn't just about a lioness or a researcher, it's about us. It's about the choices we make when life hangs in the balance, about the courage to act, even when the odds are against us. What do you think Nala saw in Sarah that day? Was it just instinct or something more? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the wild. The desert has more secrets to tell, and we'll be here to share them. Until next time.